Channel 404, we appreciate you choosing us as South Africa decides in 2019. All right, we continue our conversations. We are getting all those numbers in. We are almost at that point where the official results will be announced. But you know what we're having now is really what it is, all right? So at 6 p.m., that announcement by the IEC, the official announcement of those results. Let's just have a quick conversation before we go to KZN. We're going to be talking to our reporter there, Ayanda Mhlongo, who's in the IEC in Durban in KZN. We're going to be talking about what's happening there. But I have Mary here with me, and we were talking about the DA and their prospects and what's happening just off air. We were talking about the fact that they were not particularly happy with what's happening in Gauteng. Those numbers didn't make them too happy. But it's also a little bit further concern for them when we look at KZN. Now, looking at the KZN legislature, with those 100% VDs counted, 54.2% for the ANC, the IFP coming in at 16.3%, and then the DA losing, being the opposition now at 13.9%. Did you see that coming?
We sort of saw that coming. We had the IFP and the DA very, very close in our measurements, and obviously we said that the ANC will win the province. But about the opposition, we were very scared to say anything because the one survey was IFP ahead, the next survey was DA ahead. But then from the beginning, when the results were coming in, we saw the gains, especially in the Northern Natal, KZN, that IFP was making. So I think the DA actually, well, not I think, I know, the DA actually lost their role as official opposition in both KZN and in Mpumalanga.
Yes.
Mpumalanga, they lost it to the EFF. So again, that's a province where the DA cannot be very happy. And KZN has for a long time been a very important province for the DA, especially the southern part of KZN, eThekwini and all those areas. So the DA very much, I think, in KZN they went down. In the rest of the country, it's very much stagnated, didn't go anywhere. But in KZN they definitely lost a lot of.
That should be a sort of concern for the DA.
Must be a concern for the DA.
All right. Let's cross over to Durban then. Ayanda Mhlongo, our reporter, is standing by at the IC in Durban, KZN. Ayanda, good afternoon to you. I mean, we've been having a chat with Mary Harris here just about the DA, really. I mean, we'll talk about the ANC as time goes on, but I just want us to talk about the DA losing that opposition, and an important province for them, and it seems that they've lost that grip of being the opposition party to the ANC. They can't be too happy. What are their representatives saying there in Durban?
Good afternoon to you, Fro, and good afternoon to our viewers. Yes, certainly disappointment from the Democratic Alliance with regards to those results. And if you look at them, Flo, although they have lost their position as the main opposition party here in KwaZulu-Natal, they have managed to get one more seat. So they had 10 seats in the 2014, after the 2014 elections, and now that has moved up to 11. But overall, they're saying that they are not pleased, of course, with losing that, saying that they really had put in a lot of work and effort into the province. And also this time, Flo, what we saw from the Democratic Alliance was them trying to make inroads in the rural areas of KwaZulu-Natal. The leader of the Democratic Alliance in KwaZulu-Natal, Zwagale Mncwango, has crisscrossed various areas. In fact, he hails from Nongoma, which is in the northern parts of the province, and he campaigned a lot in his hometown as well. We also saw them having a big focus, Flo, in the townships. We saw the leader of the DA, Musi Maimane, starting off in Umlazi. In fact, he visited Umlazi township on several occasions. He was also in the township of Kwamashu, trying to grow their support in those areas. Another focus of the DA was in the minority areas, or the formerly Indian communities in Chatsworth and in Phoenix. Again, they were out garnering for that the Indian vote, and so they were confident. And I remember that when we were speaking to Zwagale Mncwango, he was speaking about the fact that at the time he felt that they were going to be able to get or retain their position of being the official opposition. and he was counting on the results of the eThekwini Metro, saying that the party enjoyed a lot of support in the eThekwini Metro. But in spite of the fact that those results did eventually come through from the eThekwini Metro, clearly the Democratic Alliance unable to get enough votes, and the IFP, which lost its position here in KwaZulu-Natal after the 2014 elections, as then seeing the IFP managing to regain its position, or that position that they'd lost, of being the official opposition. But just to get us dig more into these results, let me now bring in our analyst, Professor Bheki Mngomezulu. Prof, thank you very much for your time. We're just chatting to Flo, our presenter in Johannesburg, and speaking about the result of the Democratic Alliance. They have been the official opposition. In our reporting, we saw an effort. We saw Musi Maimane coming into the province, focusing on the townships, focusing on the rural areas. But clearly it seems that it wasn't enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I must say that it's basically not what the DA did not do, but it is what the IFP has done better. So the competition was basically going to be between the IFP and the DA, because the ANC, its position was almost a certainty. So then with regards to certain areas, for example, if you talk about areas like Phoenix, areas like Chatsworth, you may have seen that both the DA and the EFF and the IFP, of course, have all been traversing that area, trying to benefit on the minority front vote, which became available after the demise of Raj Bansi. So then basically with regards to the DA, if we were to compare the DA and the EFF, the DA and the IFP, for example, the IFP launched its manifesto in Chatsworth, and then of course Musi Maimane has been in Chatsworth several times, and then as if that was not enough, they even went on to get Tony Leon to also visit the area, simply because he enjoyed a large following during his time. But I think that, as I say, we cannot blame the DA for having failed to be the official opposition. We can congratulate the IFP for having outdone the DA, especially in around eThekwini, which is what both parties were banking on.
You know, Prof, yesterday when we were speaking, you made something quite important, and that is the parties that were centered around one leader, the NFP, the Minority Front. But the IFP has also been centered around Nkosi Mangosuthu Buthelezi, which at some point you had even said that could be work against them. But this time around, do you feel that the fact that they have put forward, he campaigned very much, the provincial secretary who is the man tipped to take over the IFP, Velenkosini Hlabisa?
Yeah, no, basically there is always a problem with parties that are built around individuals. We've seen that with a number of political parties. Right now we are talking about right now we're talking about one party currently, where we say that the IFP is built around Nkosi Mangosuthu Buthelezi. It is okay for now, for as long as Nkosi Mangosuthu Buthelezi is around. But then the question is what will happen when it disappears from the scene. But then I think that what the IFP has done, it has proved that it is aware of that problem, which is why it has tried to introduce Honorable Hlabisa long before Mangosuthu Buthelezi leaves office. So I think that will then address some of the problems that we have seen in the NFP. For example, when Kamakwaza Msebi took ill, we saw that there was almost a power vacuum and everyone was trying to grab that space. So I think that the IFP has tried to take a precautionary measure and say, to avoid a repeat of what happened in the NFP, they should rather have Hlabisa on standby and then let the party know that this is the person who's going to take over whenever Nkosi Mangosuthu Buthelezi leaves. But having him as the only person up to now has worked for as long as he's around. So I think that it is always a problem to build a party around an individual.
Prof, the biggest losers, we've seen the smaller parties, the ATM coming up, getting a first seat, the first time they've contested these elections. The ACDP, they lost in 2009, they're back again in this election with a single seat. The MF managing to retain that one seat. Unfortunately, the NFP coming from 6 seats in 2014 to a 1 seat now, losing 5 seats. But it's the African National Congress, Prof. They have lost 8 seats. So would you say that they are the biggest losers in this election? election?
I would say they are biggest losers in the broader scheme of things, but the fact that they managed 44 of the 80 member parliament means that it's something they should be proud of. But as for the ACDP and the ATM, I think that they should be happy with the one seat, more especially the ATM. As you correctly pointed out, the ATM is only contesting the election for the first time. The fact that they've managed to get one seat should be something they should be go home being proud of. Then with regards to the NFP, as much as the NFP got one seat, I think they should be happy with themselves given the kinds of problems they've experienced. So that should give them then hope that if they were to regroup and do things differently, definitely they will still have a chance. The fact that they've lost 5 of the 6 seats they used to have should not be a big issue given the situations they to deal with.
Again, Prof, just about the ANC and the factors that may have contributed to the fact of them losing these seats. We had the political killings, you had the instability, you had this internal conflict between party members. And we were watching this presentation here today when the other parties stood up, Prof, cheered, the EFF, the ACDP celebrating this result. There was not much reaction coming from the ANC.
Yeah, it's not surprising because the ANC has on many occasions acknowledged the fact that there are many things that have gone wrong, and they are aware that even though they've won the province, even though they are doing well nationally, but they are not where they are supposed to be. So I think that they recognize that things have not gone the way they wanted them to be, but at least they are still happy that they are leading. So I think this should be a wake-up call, and some of the seats, of course, went to the smaller parties like the ones we are mentioning, your ATM, your ACDP. So it means that as much as they've lost 8 seats, but at least they should be happy with what they have and then work hard to try and improve on that.
Prof, we thank you and appreciate you for analysis throughout this election period. Thank you very much for having joined us, and we deeply appreciate your analysis, Professor Bheki Mngomezulu. Let me, without wasting time, now quickly bring in the leader of the Democratic Alliance in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Zwagele Mngwango, just to get their reaction on the results. They were the official opposition in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. That position is now going to be taken by the IFP. Mr. Mngwango, thanks very much for joining us. The results are now out. You've lost that position as the official opposition. Your comment, please.
Look, firstly, I want to congratulate all parties for peaceful campaigning, especially in our province where we know intolerance. But I think all of us, we had a good run on this election. I think what is important for us in KZN is the fact that I want to thank the team that I work with for the work we've done. We managed to grow support in KZN. We managed to grow both in percentage and both in numbers. I think for us, we must celebrate the growth that we managed to achieve. Yes, it's true that it's clearly that it seems as if all the old IFP supporters that went to the NFP have now went back to the IFP. But I think I'm proud with the team in KZN that we managed to pull it off. But also I want to thank our leader, federal leader, Musmaimane, for the work he has done across the country, but also his contribution to our growth in this province. And I think we did very well as a province. I'm so excited with the results.
Well, where do you think, I mean, as I was been saying, that you've particularly wanted to grow your support base. You've had a lot of focus this time around on our rural areas, and I was even saying that you happen to be from Nongoma, which is a rural area, and so you've been working your own community as well. We saw the leader of the DA, Mr. Musi Maimane, visiting the townships. You've been very aggressive in those areas. Do you, looking at the results, obviously your party agents would have told you how you fared. Are you happy and seeing that you are growing in those areas?
I am happy. If you analyze the results, you can see the trend that actually in urban areas where normally it's our traditional support base, there was a lower turnout. But you can see that in rural areas outside Durban, we managed to achieve more than 200,000 votes. That's a lot for a party that is still growing in rural areas. And if you look closely on these results, it is becoming clear that in all VDs across the province, we managed to get votes. We're even able to win VDs. You look at Mchezi, you look at in Wanongoma, we won some VDs. So it tells you that the DA is growing in rural areas. It was really a good approach for us in the province not to concentrate where we normally gain votes, but go outside our comfort zone and able to grow our support. I'm very excited, and I think now we've got a good foundation for 2021. And I can tell you right now, for us now to achieve above 500,000 voters in KZN is a good achievement, and now we've got a good foundation for next local government election, and I have no doubt that we'll cause upset in the province.
All right, Mr. Mngqangwa, thank you very much there for your time. The leader of the Democratic Alliance in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Mr. Zwagele Mngqangwa. I'm just looking around at some of the political parties. We were hoping to try and catch up with the IFP, which is one party which analysts have already said is one of the biggest winners here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, as the declaration of results is now over. I'm looking around trying to see if we will be able to get a comment from the IFP. But just to quickly, of course, go back to the results once again of the 80 seats that were up for grab in the provincial legislature. The ANC obtaining 44 seats, the IFP 13 seats, the Democratic Alliance 11 seats, the EFF 8 seats, the NFP dropping from 6 seats obtained in 2014 to 1 seat this election, the Minority Front 1 seat, the ATM, the new kids on the block, managing to obtain 1 seat in the provincial legislature, and then finally the ACDP, which had a single seat in 2009. They lost a seat in the 2014 national elections, and they are now back with a single seat. Let me see, I see some leaders of the Minority Front just looking at me. Let's see if we can quickly chat to the MF, the Minority Front. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you so much for joining us. Just very quickly, despite all the challenges that you have, and I know I was at your manifesto launch in Chatsworth, you are regrouping, you had worked within the party, speaking to Mrs. Takur Rajbansi, she said you are focused. You've managed to retain the seat in the provincial legislature. Your comments?
Ayana, thank you very much. Firstly, I must thank everyone on behalf of the leadership of the Minority Front and the Honourable Mrs. Shamin Thakur Rajbansi for voting for the Minority Front and allowing us to retain our seat in the provincial legislature. It was a tough fight. It was a good comradeship, but at the end of it, remember, we are a small party, we have less funds, right, and we tried our very best to make inroads in all communities. So the Minority Front has revitalized, and we are looking forward to the local government elections in 2 years' time.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for your time. That was the Minority Front. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but those were the results coming from the elections here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We had the IFP now, but I believe we have run out of time, so we'll try to catch up with the IFP a little later. For now, Flo, it's back to you.
All right.